Coming up today on the Village Idiom. I grew up in the church.
Yeah.
And so I'm scared of the devil. And so the thought of idle hands, like sometimes I wake up and my hands are asleep. Is that a little open door for the devil? It's like you wake up.
Got your hands, he's playing
I can't
somewhere.
move my hands. Oh, come on. Not today, Satan.
Village Idiom.
Hello, and welcome to the Village Idiom.
Yes, y'all. We are a podcast that takes a shallow dive every week into an English idiom. We will talk about the usage. We will talk about the...
Did you say idiom?
Idiom.
Like Jewish?
I tried to just keep going.
L'chaim. It's a idiom.
English idiom.
Idiom for our bar mitzvah.
But really, it's just a coat rack that we can hang our conversation on. You know, last week you gave a little story about a shallow dive that went bad. And
Yes.
It came to me that I had a shallow dive story when I was, I think, probably 6, 7, 8 years old. My dad was teaching me how to dive at the public pool. And I was little and just doing
off in the kiddie section.
No, we were in the deep end.
kiddie pool?
He needed to be there. I wasn't a solid enough swimmer to be left alone.
Just go in the kiddie pool. It'll
So
work.
I kept belly flopping.
Yep.
Kept hurting myself.
Yep.
Kept almost drowning, and he would save me. And they're like, okay, let's take a break. So we went to the shallow end where he let me just swim around. And I'm like, no, I think I can do it. So I dove in and I hit the bottom of that pool so hard that the whole pool came to a stop because it was just like, gong. And everyone just went silent as I came up with a cut in my forehead.
Oh,
it was one of those pools with the little 1 by 1 inch tiles.
Yeah.
You could see an L in my forehead.
Wow.
Shape of the tile.
Shape of an L on his forehead.
What? I was the guy with the shape of an L on my forehead, literally. I have no scar, though, thank goodness.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow. Couldn't have planned that.
It must have just been a terrible experience.
It was
Frightening as a kid.
It's good. You know, here's what I think about any bad story that you have, whether it's whacking your head or your brother-in-law getting hurt. If you survive and you're well, it's a
good
story for your arsenal.
Norm Macdonald says that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger is actually not true. It's what doesn't kill you makes you weaker. Usually a lot weaker before. Like, so that moment right afterwards, you're not stronger for it. You're a lot weaker.
Yeah, tell that to a tree that's getting axed down.
Right.
One chop doesn't kill you. It makes you stronger. No,
it doesn't. You're a breath away from becoming kindling.
But what doesn't kill you might make you funnier.
Yeah, that's true. See, I don't know if that's the case. I've seen Tracy Morgan. So what?
Oh, that's sad. You tried to skate over that too. You tried to just keep moving on. You wouldn't even let me get by on idiom. Idiom. Sorry, I cut you off. What do you got?
Oh, not a ton. It was a fantastic study into this idiom, and I feel a lot smarter for it. It took some neat course corrections that I'm interested in getting into.
Oh, see, I'm glad to hear that because I felt like it was a little dry this time, and and it came around. I got some stuff there. But to introduce today's idiom is this clip from a TV series. And let's see if you're listening at home, if you can recognize this before Skinny does. And it goes a little something like this.
In the meantime, idle hands are the devil's playthings. So you get back on the horse and do what you do best.
There you go.
That's a Better Call Saul or a Breaking Bad.
It is Breaking Bad, but it is Saul. It is Saul talking for sure.
Saul Goodman.
Yeah. Bob Odenkirk?
Yeah.
Odenkirk.
That's funny.
Yeah. So there it is. Idle hands are the devil's playthings. That is today's idiom. And, of course, it means that, what does it mean? Idle hands are the devil's playthings means...
Something related to that
stay busy.
Free time equals bad things happen.
Equals mischief.
Which I find so interesting as like a child that free time and like we spent so much unstructured time. It was all free time, and we did get into some trouble and some mischief.
Yeah.
But that also sparked like where
creativity invention.
Where so many amazing things happened.
Yeah.
Was purely because it was unstructured time, and dad wasn't lurking over your shoulder.
Right. But then there was the mischief.
Totally.
And they're getting in trouble.
Oh my goodness, we set friends' bamboo shrubbery on fire.
Man, there's a lot of fire things when I was a kid. It seemed like everybody had some magnifying lens to light a fire or just a lighter to light a fire.
There was a girl we thought was cute in school, and so, of course, this makes no sense. We thought it would be great to wake her up in the middle of the night, so we had to sleep over at my friend's house, and we taped firecrackers to a sparkler.
Oh, my goodness.
The sparkler was going to be our fuse. This was like, think about how genius that is for a kid. You need to not just light it and run, because then you're going to get busted.
You can light a sparkler.
You can light the sparkler. The sparkler will sparkle its way up and then light off the firecrackers.
So wait, you slept over at your friend's house,
Yes.
not the girl's house.
No, that would be, again, bad. That is playing
That
with
is
fire.
one of the deadly sins.
That is playing with fire. And we taped the...
So you snuck out and went to her
We
house.
snuck out of his
Okay.
house and then went over to her house, taped up firecrackers to a sparkler. Think this is going to be great. We light the sparkler off, throw it up onto her patio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which was covered in AstroTurf.
No.
Yeah, you know where that's going. And so sure enough, bam, 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 after we're like already hauling down the street, laughing our butts off. We think we're just so hilarious.
And you look
See
back.
the lights come on in the house. Like this woke up the house. Effect achieved. We are so funny. And then we spent, I don't know, the next hour and a half roaming through the neighborhood, avoiding her dad, who came out and followed us, tried to catch us in his car.
Oh, my goodness.
Through the neighborhood, because the sparkler melted a hole through his AstroTurf on his patio, and he was so livid.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so we'd be like hiding in the
That's
tree,
great,
and we're
though.
like, we got to go one more block.
See?
Just
But-
one more block.
Did you ever confess? Did you ever get caught?
Oh, this actually could be the first time of telling the story to someone who wasn't in the event.
Okay, well, me and a friend, I slept over at his house. This is probably grade.
Sleepovers
I don't
are
know.
bad.
Senior, so I'm like 12th grade, and we slept over. We went out and we went to this girl's house, and everybody was starting to have their own cars, and she had a tiny little hatchback car. But just the two of us, we lifted and moved onto her lawn.
Oh!
So we were able to just like
Bounce it over?
yeah, bounce it over. Like
Baby's got hatchback.
yeah, we left her car on her lawn. But then same thing. We were ready to admit it the next day, but there was so much fury that we're like, yeah, no, keep this one on the down low.
No one can know
No
about
one can know. So this is my first time confessing. I can't remember the girl though. I can't remember who. I remember who I did it with. I can't remember the girl we did it to.
Ours is Dina McCaughey.
That was it.
Was it her? She was
I'm just
amazing. So very Wonder Years-esque.
So idle hands obviously are the devil's playthings. The correct usage might be this. This is the little example I gave. If I had all the settings ready to record this podcast, but I had to leave you unattended in the studio here, and I didn't want you to touch anything, I might hand you a Rubik's Cube to keep you busy, because idle hands are the devil's playthings. So, do you
Absolutely.
do the Rubik's Cube?
Yes, once during a period of like, I think it was pneumonia or some sort of fevered pitch thing, I was in bed for days.
Okay.
And so I was given a Rubik's Cube and a solving Rubik's Cube book.
Oh,
And so I laid in bed, and then when I came in and out of consciousness, I learned to solve a Rubik's
so you
Cube.
don't come by it naturally, but you
I
you
learned from
taught
a book.
yourself.
Yeah.
Or you
I
read
learned
it,
from a
yeah.
book, to do it. And that was like 5 minutes and less.
Oh,
I actually
really?
did a video with a kid. He did it, solved it 6-7 times in 3 minutes.
How young?
Ryland, whatever his.
Oh, what-
yeah. So he 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing. So, but
That is
anyways,
crazy.
yeah. So it's possible. So I did learn how to do it, but all of those
So I
things.
guess it's good to have hobbies.
I'm a huge fan of that kind of unstructured playtime stuff.
Yeah.
Where I think it's a total problem how kids are overstructured.
Well, have you heard of free range parenting?
Yes.
This is a thing now where they
Yes.
I can't remember what state they had to go to court to free range parent, which is basically parenting how we were raised, where it was like, make sure you're back when the street lights come on.
I'm going to the ravine.
Yeah.
I'll be back before dark.
So, because people were calling the police on children who they just see wandering, and the parents are like, I just let them walk to the store with $2. You let them walk on your own?
Yeah, I'm a huge advocate of this.
And now they're like, they had to petition, go to court, say, and it has a name now, free range parenting. You look it up. And
it used to just be called parenting.
It used to be just called parenting. But there's a whole, like, free range parenting goes the next step, which is like they purposely underschedule their children. Like,
yes.
No sport, or not no sports, but they're not like run ragged with the scheduling.
I think you kind of have to go about it this way. I was reading through a different article that hit the other side of it from, it was parenting.com. So maybe even more important, unstructured time gives children the opportunity to explore their inner and outer worlds, which is the beginning of creativity. This is how they learn to engage with themselves and the world, to imagine, invent, and create.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Went on in this other article in The Atlantic, it details not only how much children's playtime has declined, but how this lack of play affects emotional development, leading to a rise in anxiety, depression, problems of attention, and self-control.
Wow. I believe all. Yeah.
Yeah, you have no problem believing any
No,
of that.
I've like, forget the studies. I feel like that just should be common sense true.
Right. You kids kind of get themselves into situations and then they have to get themselves out.
Yeah, they
And so
learn.
and they grow for it.
They learn. They got to learn to negotiate.
Or perish.
Conflict resolution when there's no parents or adults in the mix to figure out stuff. Like
Right.
somebody's leaving with the soccer ball. It's time to work things out. There's no
Right.
parents telling you whatever. Yeah. I was thinking about just the idea of the idiom itself at face value. Idle hands are the devil's plaything. Now, I don't know about you. I grew up in I didn't know about you in this part.
You did grow up.
I grew up in the church.
Yeah.
And so I'm scared of the devil. And so the thought of idle hands, like sometimes I wake up and my hands are asleep. Is that a little open door for the devil? It's like you wake
He's
up.
got your hands, he's playing
I can't
somewhere.
move my hands. Oh, come on. Not today, Satan. Come to life.
He's playing with your hands somewhere in the netherworld.
Oh my goodness.
The on that note of if you have young children and you are one of our illegitimate children out there, I beg you.
So one of our illegitimate children who has their own legitimate children, hopefully.
Or illegitimate, or whatever. I'm not here to judge.
Yeah.
When I come into your home and it looks like an episode of like children's.
Pause.
Okay.
If you're listening for the first time, this is not a plan to come into your home. Hey, all you listeners out there, if I come into your home.
If somehow you could just leave your address as you comment below
We'll give you
at the
information.
Village Idiom Podcast at Gmail.
Sorry.
Just put your address
Finish
in
your
there.
thought about how you're going into our listeners' homes.
When you go into someone's home that is just so, talk about playthings, that is just so kidded with so many toys and playthings.
Yeah.
It looks like an episode of like Junior Hoarders.
Right.
That
They've got it all.
there is this a massive problem. It rages me out that when the home is that kid-centered thing.
Yeah, if you can't figure out a way to have
it makes
fun
me weirded
with
out.
a pencil, like
It's
that's all you got.
And when it's like that Christmas time or birthday, whatever, and kids can find as much fun out of the box as the toy that it came in, or
Yeah.
the toy, whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be like that. The kid that lasts forces a different level of creativity. That go outside forces a different level of creativity. For myself, I think it would be great. I sound like such a Luddite with like rolling back the clock.
I don't even know what that means.
Someone who's like not anti-tech, but like behind the times in technology.
A Luddite.
Where you don't like, it would be great to not have a cell phone. Just being
Right.
tethered to that.
Right.
And then, so we talk about idle hands.
It'd be great, but you're never going to do it.
I tried once.
Once for how long?
No.
What is once?
So what I did, this will happen. I ordered a watch online,
Like a smartwatch.
smartwatch, so that all I could do was have this
whatever the
one
watch
and a
can
half
do.
inch by 1.5 inch screen to deal with.
Yeah.
Had a cell phone slot for a SIM card and the whole deal.
Okay.
So I'm going like, this is my phone. This is my everything. I'm going cell phone
Total
free.
Dick Tracy.
Yeah,
dock
just doing it. If
watch.
I can't do it on this watch, then it's not going to happen. And then it turned out that the watch couldn't handle the same bands as my cellular provider.
Oh, so you didn't actually get to try.
So I didn't get to go through it, but I have all the pieces. I made the mental plunge.
Yeah.
So next time it comes around, this thing where we're at, where the kids are so
Programmed, scheduled,
invested, and the age of them getting these like smart devices, whether it's
crazy,
phones, has dropped and dropped and dropped. I just think it's insane. When I was reading through, it said 85% of kids aged 14 to 17 have cell phones.
Wow.
85%. Age 14 to 17, 69% of 11 to 14-year-olds, 31% of kids aged 8 to 10, according to the Kaiser Family Foundation. In 2018, the average
But what
age...
does that mean, really? Like, when you get down to the younger ages, are they buying them, like, data-savvy, workable, or is it like, my phone's not working, and they're handing it down? And
we can get into it. The 2018 average, the average age for first cell phone was 10 years old, 10.3 years old to have your first cell phone.
Like a working...
My kids might just think I'm just the worst parent because you don't get a cell phone in my house until you're 16.
See, we were going to wait even longer. We were going to, they can get a cell phone when they can arrange their own credit and their own, like,
there you go.
When you can figure it out, you can have a cell phone. But then we realize when they get to an age when they're out and about and you want to get a hold of them as a parent.
Right.
Like,
so for your benefit, that you would. But we all survived somehow, just like, meet me at the corner store at 3:30. If you're not there, you're walking home.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'll be there.
Sometimes you had to go to 3-4
like
houses
running.
to find your friends.
You're like running.
Totally, yeah.
I got to be there at 3:30. They will leave. They'll leave. My parents will leave me there.
Oh, your parents. I thought you were talking about just your friends.
Or
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Parents. Like,
I'm very much an advocate. I've very much left my children in places. And if I said I will be here or we're going to do that or we're going.
I've tried leaving them.
I'm out
they
the door.
keep finding me.
They're very shifty little characters.
Well, man, do you want to get into it? We've been jumping all around and having some fun, but let's get into the actual dirty, nerdy origins of
Tell me
this
more.
idiom.
I said some words, where'd they go? Where'd they go? No one can know. I turned around and looked behind. Those words came from another mind. Origin!
Yeah. That's good. All right, well, I'll start and jump in. I'm sure you've done your own little research for this as well. But first of all, there's actually several other versions of this same idiom. So I jotted down a few that I came across. So idle hands are the devil's playthings is what we're started with. Idle hands are the devil's tools. Idle hands are the devil's workshop. And then it flips it sometimes and it says the devil finds work or the devil finds mischief for idle hands to do. So you'll find it in print and in literature, all sorts of different ways, all with the same kind of meaning. So I was going to say the oldest. That would be a false statement. So I'm going to go back to the 4th century with I don't know if it's Jerome or Jeremy, but it's, Jerome. Saint Jerome, most likely 4th century based on his birth and death records. He wrote this: Thas et liquid operis ut semper te diabolus inveniet occupatum.
Wow.
Which I'm pretty sure is Latin. For engage in some occupation so that the devil may always find you busy.
So if idle hands are the devil's playthings, then busy hands are what?
Idle hands are the devil's playthings. Busy hands are busy.
That's his busyness. Business.
Mind your own busyness.
Having if free time is where he plays, then what is busy time?
You're untouchable.
Well, I think busy time, what we're talking about, is where you find like this comparisons and depression and anxiety. Maybe that's where it is.
So so idle hands or busy hands,
You're doomed.
It's still the devil.
You can't win this one.
Can't win. The second reference came up with Geoffrey Chaucer again with one of the Canterbury Tales, the Tale of Melibea, which would be 12th century. But I don't know why this one came up in the research so many times, because really Geoffrey Chaucer is basically quoting Saint Jerome in Tales of Canterbury. So yes, It's another place in print. in the 12th century, and I'm like, is there nothing in between 4th century, 12th century? I don't know, but he pretty much just quotes him.
There was a possible spin-off from the Bible.
Yeah.
Proverbs 16:27.
It seems like they all
Right.
really technically come from messages in the Bible, but that verse in particular.
That one was Proverbs 16:27. A worthless man devises mischief, and in his lips there is a scorching fire.
Yeah. Throughout the Bible, there's references to idleness causing temptation. Like
Right, sitting around on your rusty dusty, bad things happen.
Samuel something, it says idleness caused David's temptation. But the verse you just read, did you find the 1971 Living Bible, which was a English paraphrased version of the Bible?
Yes, they went directly right at
They
it.
said the actual idiom.
They used the idiom but that
Idle
was written in
Hands
1971.
Are the Devil's Workshop. Yeah. Nothing good came out of 1971.
Only a couple of things did.
A couple of idioms.
Yeah.
So I think that even the 4th century, 12th century ones, I think probably there was just this general biblical, morality, or this like culture of idle hands are the devil. I did find an interesting Turkish proverb, which was 1820, which is right along the same thing, but it kind of said it differently. It says that the devil tempts all other men, but that idle men tempt the devil. So if you're idle, that's a temptation for the devil. Oh, I won't.
Playthings.
A plaything. Yeah, exactly.
That's funny. A funny point of view on it. But I do find that when you get together with nothing to do, that's when fun stuff also happens.
That's true.
Like when you're just around with your buddies and you're just chewing the fat and you got no planned agenda and you're just talking and sharing ideas.
Nothing bad
That wraps
ever
up.
followed the statement, watch this.
In terms of watch this. Were we sleeping over at that buddy's house when we were at our friend Kurt's house? So at one point, Jurassic Mark had his tongue pierced.
Oh, it wasn't an overnighter, I don't think.
Was it something related to
know-
that? It was a late night something, or
Yeah, it was a guy's night, series of movies,
he
marathon.
has his tongue pierced, and again, idle hands. We got no agenda, nothing on the go. We thought, you know how you put a
My tongue, your idea.
you know how you put a 9-volt battery at the end of your tongue, and it does that shock. And it's like, oh,
That's how you test your batteries.
right. We thought it would be funny to use a paper clip and put one on each pole of the 9-volt battery,
And then
top
around
and
each
bottom,
metal ball of the tongue piercing.
so that you'd have one pole up top and one pole
I
at the bottom.
agreed to this because I figured it wouldn't feel anything different than just put, like, how many times have you put your tongue on a 9-volt battery? No big deal.
Daily.
That's all I thought it would be. But that thing fired my head back.
Your head shot back like you'd been hit by a bullet. It was ready, go. And it's like you swallowed your tongue, your head shot back.
That's crazy.
Idle hands.
Yeah, exactly.
A group
Let's try this.
Let's do this. Nothing bad ever happened. We had a group of friends this last week. The media world was taken by storm. The apparent ending of the Game of Thrones series.
Oh, see, I'm one of those very few people. I have not seen a single episode.
I haven't seen a single episode either.
Oh, actually, yeah. Because it's like the hugest thing known to man, and I haven't seen anything.
Having a group of friends were together afterwards, and I know all the premises of
You hear
the things that
enough
go
of it,
on.
yeah.
And so one of the people in it, he's crippled, but he was going to be the now new king.
Okay.
And so the Game of Thrones, the main throne is this iron throne made up of swords.
Right.
And so we're like, it'll be kind of funny to have, like, if it was like a throne, but it's like a wheelchair throne made of swords.
Because he might become
Because
the new king.
if he was become the new king. Well, sure enough, like, it's like, oh, put that into Google.
Everybody's done it already.
Everybody's already done
course,
it.
of
Yeah,
course.
there's images already. People have made them already. So it's when people have this windows of time and unstructured thing, that's when the creativity things, that's when things start popping.
Yeah. To back up with the meaning of the idiom itself, I came across this article about suburban mom blames boredom for crime spree. So she had been a soldier. She's a vet, but she's living life like pretty much as good as it gets. Melissa Bergman, 30, was a stay-at-home mom living in a $500,000 home in Mason when she'd committed a series of thefts in July. So basically, she's like, I felt like she was on these missions, these tour of duties, right? And then came back and was just like, had nothing to do. And it all started when...
I might as well rob a store.
Well, it all started as a package came to her house that it was wrong delivery. So she gets in her car, takes the package to the proper house, and sees a whole bunch of deliveries on the porch that have just been neglected. Oh, no. So she's like, I guess they don't want them. And so took a few, started opening them up, and it fueled her. It gave her a reason to live, the excitement of taking. So for the next 2 days, she went to 12 different homes and just stole packages.
She was one of those people?
Stole packages off the porch. No. And she's literally, when she got busted, it was like one of those, almost like a kid where you're like, why did you do that? I don't know. And she was just like, I was just bored. And
eyes roll into the back of her head.
Finally felt excited about something and just started taking packages.
That's weird.
That's like literally idle hands. Like she had nothing to do. And she saw this opportunity and went for it.
Funny when kids get bored. I don't know if you were ever encouraged to do this as a youngin'. It's like, go make a stand in front of the house and sell something.
Sell whatever, yeah.
I was trying to get my kids to do an orange juice stand, but they couldn't concentrate.
Oh, man. That's the worst. Is that your joke for the day?
A little bit.
I thought you were telling a real story, because my real story is I tried to do at-home taxidermy and just sell neighbors' pets and things. No, just kidding.
Terrible. You could do a bakery, but there's not a lot of dough in that.
Oh, no. That's the worst. These are getting so bad.
When you're bored, that creativity. So, but you do get into some mischief. So if you want to do free range your kids, you got to be prepared for a little bit of learning gone wrong.
Yeah, I was looking up if there's any famous people who have just been like given like quote by, and it's this idiom, and several people have been. If you type this in, that's Isaac Watts, that's Henry David Thoreau, that's Benjamin Franklin, that's Henry Ford. I'm like, everybody's been given credit for using idle hands or the devil's playthings or some version of that. But what I came across was Idle Hands the movie. And so I'm going to play a little clip. This starring Devon Sawa. You'd recognize him if you saw him. Not a household name, though, but also Seth Green. Here's the premise of the movie. A total slacker teenager who is such a slacker, such a lazy bones, that his idle right hand gets possessed by the devil.
Really?
So truly, idle hands are the devil's playthings.
Stupid.
And the only way to battle it is to stay busy. Otherwise, he's murderous. In fact, kills his two best friends who choose to remain as the undead. It's so ridiculous. But listen to this clip. You'll get the gist of it.
And the only way to stop it, idle hands are the devil's playpen, so keep my hands occupied, right? Is to keep it busy. Freeze! Drop the knitting needles. That's probably not a good idea. Put him down! Cuff me! Put those needles down, young man! Down! Cuff me!
That's funny.
He won't stop knitting. The cops have him pinned because if he stops knitting, he'll murder them.
That's ridiculous. Well,
in
that same vein, there is a push on for like why people who are in life have life sentences at correctional facilities, that giving them ongoing education, giving them something to do, because they said literally the having nothing to do makes them like
stir crazy and
makes them go nuts.
Right.
And if you want someone to go nuts, you segregate them off, or you take that kid, you put him in a corner and you make them stare at a wall.
Yeah, isolation is brutal, right?
Isolation, all those things, that idleness is makes bad things happen inside of a person's head.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. Like you wig out if you're too alone too long.
Right.
Just happens to the best of us.
So I found it interesting anyway.
Yeah. So let's move along. One of the things we challenge each other every week is come with an original joke. I thought maybe your lemonade stand was your joke, but did you come with anything better? Because my joke is the weakest.
I'll keep it for this week for the sake of time.
This is what I got. Eric Idle was one of the key players in Monty Python. A couple of titles that he had his name attached to as a writer were The Life of Brian and Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Both of these films were criticized by the church and by Christian as being irreverent and sacrilegious. I guess you could say that Idle's hands were the devil's playwright.
That's not bad.
That's all I got.
It's not bad.
Just a play on words. Did you say you're going to save yours?
I am, and I'm especially going to save it now. I will be able to show you with my phone that I also have an Eric Idle joke with The Life of Brian.
Hilarious.
Yeah, so I will definitely save it.
Okay. Well, then let's jump into a few shout-outs. I want to say hello to a few people. I missed one on somebody who responded to the riddle link from the Who Let the Cat Out of the Bag.
Sure.
And he solved it. In fact, I looked back. He was the first to solve it, and I failed to mention him at all.
Well, give him that shout
big
out.
shout out to Henry Kamstra for jumping in.
I love that guy.
Saying hello to us and having the correct answer to
Henry's a dude.
To that riddle link. Also, just big hello this week. People who reached out, said hello, answered some of the riddle links, some of the visual riddle links. So, SCXTTWXGNXR. Wow, that's one.
See that.
Chris Gary, Jade_GTB, Nicole_Renea. All of these people said hello. Thank you. We love that you're chiming in. And,
Appreciate
and
those
contacting
shout-outs.
us.
Thank you.
One of our illegitimate children contacted us on Facebook this week, and they're backpacking through Greece and Turkey right now. And every chance they get somewhere where they can grab Wi-Fi or downloading another episode and even answering some of the riddle links from Turkey.
That's so fun.
Thank you for listening overseas. Be a part of this. In fact, they answered last week's riddle link, which was also known as The King. This Memphis-born wrestler is still honing his skills. And the answer was Jerry Learning the Ropes. So Jerry Lawler and Learning the Ropes.
Jerry Lawler.
Congrats for getting that one and for
one.
staying in touch even from Greece and Turkey. That's so awesome.
Cool. Well, I do have a riddle prepared for you.
All right.
Give us a quick description on what it is.
Riddling is a two-part riddle question that requires a two-part overlapping answer, and you'll get the hang of it if you hear a couple.
Okay, here we go. Riddling number 1. It's a nice day for a white wedding in the Devil's Workshop.
Billy Idle Hands are the... Or Idle Hands.
Billy Idle?
Billy Idle Hands.
There you go.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to stay in the music genre. You ready for yours?
Sure.
The Devil's real name sang lead for the Black Eyed Peas.
That would be Lucifergy.
That's right. And you know a song that she sang? Lucifergalicious.
That's funny.
Okay, give me another one, and then I'll have one more we'll leave hanging for
Sure.
everybody out there.
Okay, this one will be a little trickier.
Okay.
Idle Hands are for this CNC Music Factory hit song.
Okay. Oh, man. What is their big song? So Idle Hands are the Devil's Plaything. The Devil's Playthings that make you go,
Yes.
Devil's Playthings that make you go,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one.
You did a good job. You
Wow.
nailed it.
Going into the far back file folder of CNC Music
They
Factory
have two
knowledge.
songs. Things that make you
What's the
go.
other one?
Everybody dance now.
Everybody dance now. There's the falsetto for this week. Okay, here's one we're going to leave with you out there. But, Skinny, tell them how they can answer and how they can shout out, say hello to us, and get in touch.
Absolutely. Make sure you drop us an email at thevillageidiompodcast@gmail.com. On Instagram, the.village.idiom. Send a DM or drop a comment in there. And as well on our Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, you can reach out at 3 minutes gone, all one word. 3 minutes gone.
Perfect. All right.
What do you got for us?
Here's
Send us
the
home.
link for our illegitimate children. The Devil's Playthings wrote The Little Mermaid. The Devil's Playthings wrote The Little Mermaid.
I like it. Hope you liked it too. Drop a thumbs up or you will get a punch in the throat. I am Skinny.
And I am Jurassic Mark.
And these are the Village Idioms.
Feel that? Feel it.
Idle hands are the devil's playthings, the devil's playthings, the devil's playthings. Idle hands are the devil's playthings, the devil lives deep down.
That's 3 minutes gone.